Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silent reflection for our servicemen and women throughout the world, and for those who have passed away in our community, especially John Monahan and Father Eugene Gunning. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. King.
Present.
Mr. Schuster.
Present.
Dr. Rothchild. Mr. McAndrew.
Present.
Mr. Smurl.
Here.
I'd like to make a motion, take from the table, file, council number 42, 2024.
There's a motion on the floor and a, oh, I'm sorry. There is a motion.
Second.
There's a motion on the floor and a second to take from the table, file of council number 42, 2024, and place it in seventh order for final vote. This ordinance is the City of Scranton operating budget for 2025. If anyone would like to speak on this, please, of legislation, you may do so in fourth order, citizens' participation. On the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved. Dispense with the reading of the minutes.
Third order, 3A, minutes of the Scranton Firefighters Commission meeting held September 18, 2024. 3B, minutes of the Scranton Firefighters Commission meeting held October 16, 2024. 3C, minutes of the non-uniform Municipal Pension Board meeting held October 16, 2024. 3D, agenda for the non-uniform Municipal Pension Board held November 20th, 2024. 3E, minutes of the Scranton Police Commission special meeting held October 21st, 2024. 3F, Composite Pension Board meeting minutes held October 16, 2024. 3G, overtime report for all departments as provided by City Controller, received November 20th, 2024. 3H, correspondence dated November 20th, 2024, from BA ARPA Director regarding IT departmental budget transfers. 3I, Lackawanna County Planning Commission Subdivision and Land Development Evaluation Reports, received November 21st, 2024. 3J, petition received from Scranton East Mountain residents to have Scranton Fire Department Engine 10 remain on East Mountain.
Are there any comments on any of the third order items?
I just have one comment. You know, council, each of the members of council here have verbalized their support for keeping Engine 10 on East Mountain, so I'm glad to see that a petition was started by the residents there. So I commend the residents of East Mountain on getting this petition together and getting it to council.
On the question, I'm sorry. I'll back up exactly what Mr. Schuster said. In fact, I signed the petition on my way in to vote up in East Mountain. We've said this before. We all saw what happened when they pulled that fire station off of the mountain, and we had a terrible fire on Froud Avenue, and it took them quite a long time to get a truck up there. If anybody saw what happened on Friday, you couldn't move on East Mountain. If there was a fire, there's no way a fire truck was getting up that mountain. Now, if it was on top, it could have gotten there. But you could not move on East Mountain on Friday. So if there were fires, a lot of people would have been in trouble if we did not have Engine 10 on top of that mountain. So I know that there's not a single person. I've not met a single person from the East Mountain that wants to see that fire station moved off of the mountain. And it covers quite a broad spectrum. It comes all the way over from past Oakmont Park, comes right across 307 over to the top of East Mountain Road, crosses over past Mountain Lake, all the way down up past Howard Gardner on top of East Elm Street, over to Cherry, all the way down Mulkey Avenue to the end. There's a lot of coverage there. There's 2 schools, there's churches, there's Temple Hesed is up there, there's a nursing home right across from Lake Scranton. So it's desperately needed. So I'm thrilled to see all the people come out and sign that petition because their voices have been heard. And we already passed, we passed that resolution, or we're going to finalize it tonight, hopefully, to ensure. And keep in mind, we amended it. The original one didn't have the wording in there. We put the wording in there to ensure that even if it's relocated, it's going to be relocated on East Mountain and is close proximity to where it is right now. So thrilled about that. Thank you, Mr. Schuster.
Also, I am thrilled. So last week, the 600-plus signatures on the petition was handed to me outside the door before I came in, hand-delivered to me before I came into last week's meeting. And I read the petition, but not the names. I'm very proud of the 600-plus residents that care about their community up there. The needs and wants have been heard. They've been heard. And of course, we have listened, and we were behind them and keeping the firehouse on the mountain. And I'd also like to thank and say how proud I am of Jean Marie Warpus, who spearheaded the petition and got it done very quickly and got it to us. So again, I applaud them. I'm very proud of them. And don't worry, it's going to stay there. And after the study is done, then we get to pick or decide how the building's either going to be a new building or how they're going to retrofit the building that's there. But to be honest with you, I'm in favor of a new building because I was up there and it's very tight. The truck, you can barely get in and out. You can't work on the truck. So these are discussions that I'm sure we'll have later on. But once again, I'm very happy with this, and it's in motion. Please, the residents of the mountain, that this is going to be taken care of. So thank you again.
Thank you. Anyone else? If not, received and filed. Do any council members have any announcements at this time?
I have a couple. So I'll start, first of all, thanking the DPW, the Scranton Fire Department, and the Scranton Police Department with their swift response to last Friday's crazy snowstorm and serving the residents. Great job, everyone. Secondly, tomorrow's, Wednesday, and then the day after that is Thanksgiving. So I'd like to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving, surrounded by family, friends, and great food. Also, I was asked to report or announce that this Saturday at 4 p.m., there will be a Greenridge Neighborhood Group's Christmas tree lighting at Pretzel Park. So they do a great job, and if you can get there, it's pretty cool. And also, I'd like to announce that Sunday, December 8th, will be the 11th annual, Cookies for Kids Cancer McAndrew Family Bake Sale. What is it? It's a bake sale that we've been doing for 11 years. And why do we do it? Because the money raised helps kids with better treatment that is usually toxic. So all the money that normally goes to Cookies for Kids Cancer is to develop less toxic treatment for the poor kids that are fighting this horrible disease. And with that said, so we're mixing it up a little bit this year. Instead of just having great Christmas cookies, we're going to have Santa there. So a Sunday with Santa, so we're going to have Santa Claus there. You can get your picture taken with Santa at the Career Technology Center. And the digital communication classes, a great bunch of kids, are going to take your picture. The print production class with their students are going to print it for you, and it's free. So you get to have an ice cream sundae with Santa on Sunday. And then this year, we also, in the past, we've sponsored someone local. God love them. And sometimes we're happy not being able to sponsor a local kid with cancer because we can't find one, and that's always a good thing. But this year, we found one, unfortunately, and we want to help him. So he's a local teenager from Mid-Valley. His name is Eddie Kaufman. This past October, Eddie was diagnosed with T-cell lymphoblastic leukemia. Despite Eddie being a model of health, in September he felt ill and something didn't seem right. He was sent to Children's Hospital in Philly, which led to his diagnosis. Eddie remains mentally strong and is battling, he's a warrior. Through all of these treatments, he can't wait to come back stronger and even get back to his teammates at Roanoke College, where he's a baseball star. He was a baseball star at Mid-Valley, a golf star. So half of the money we raise, and it's okay with this organization because we've done it in the past, will go directly to Eddie and the Coffin family. So the other half of the money, like I said, raised will go directly towards research to fund pediatric cancer through Cookies for Kids Cancer. So again, I'm very proud of my family, my students, and the community that always supports this. And it's, once again, it is Sunday, December 8th from 12 to 2 at the Career Technology Center of Lackawanna County. Thank you. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. McAndrew.
All right, so I plan on saving it for fifth order, but since Mr. McAndrew has already stated it, there was a quick response to the snowstorm on Friday, so I would like to thank DPW, the Scranton Fire Department, and the Police Department. A lot of trees down and lines down that were cleared pretty quickly. Announcement for today is that the Department of Public Works will be closed on Thursday, the 28th, in observance of Thanksgiving. So please be advised that the Department of Public Works will be working on Friday, the 29th, and working Saturday the 30th as a makeup day, so all trash and recycling will be one day behind this week. Thank you.
I'd also like to thank Scranton Police Department, Fire Department, DPW on a surprise storm. That was one heck of a 1 to 3 inches that we got. I know I had 14 inches up on top of East Mountain. So it caught a lot of people off guard. And power, I know my power was out from 4 in the morning till probably 6:30. Some people had it far worse. I know over in West Mountain, a number of people had it for a couple days. So it was very challenging, and our guys did a tremendous, I don't want to say guys and women did a great job getting out there under difficult conditions in trying to get those roads open safely, and just really trying to keep everybody safe and get the roads open so that people could get around. Also, this Saturday is the Green Ridge Mile. It's the oldest road race in the city of Scranton. It's a 1-mile race. It starts up by Marywood on North Washington Avenue at 1 p.m. and if you're the winner, it takes about 4 minutes and 20 seconds. And if you're in last place, maybe it's 15 or 17 or maybe 20 minutes. But it's a fun day out. Finishes at Andy Gavin's. They've been attracting 250, 300 runners every year. It's a nice family event, a lot of kids out there. So if anyone wants to come out and support that. I'm not sure who the funding is going to this year, but they always do it for a cause. So that's a good thing. And I'd like to thank everyone that was involved in the Family to Family program again this year that gave out all the meals and preparations for meals today up at the Cultural Center. And I want to wish everyone to have a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. King. Fourth order?
Fourth order, citizen participation.
First on our sign-in slip is Aunt Marquise.
Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? Everything is in alignment. I'm not a gangster, sir. Please don't call me that. Okay, so I'm doing this again for the community because we have more people who have shown up, okay? I come here tonight with a new approach. As I strive to become more organized with my political efforts as well as my work as an activist, I am no longer addressing the council members. I am strictly speaking to the public in the region of Northeast PA as a whole. I've come to find if you want to get anything done, listen, man, I'm telling you guys something right now. I'm dropping jewels. If you want to get anything done within your community, you have to do it yourself, okay? If you want to get anything done, do it yourself. Organize. No leader is perfect, but it is the initiative as well as the character that makes a great leader. As we all know, there is a homeless pandemic, not only in Lackawanna County, but across the whole country. Now, I've lived with these people, so I can never look down on them. They are human, just like you and I. Amen? Yes. I've come up with a solution to fight against the poverty in our country. As a musician and an activist, I've chosen to use my gifts and talents to raise funds and be able to provide the proper resources needed to help the homeless population. Now again, this will not only be in Lackawanna County. I am touring the whole region of Northeast PA in hopes to give back to everyone in need. Eventually, I will be financing a global tour to raise funds and fight against the poverty. I know that we have the budget to do more. We spoke about this earlier about an hour or so ago, but I know we had the budget to do more. Okay. We have immigrants with mental health issues as well as drug addictions coming into this country every day. And if we say we are leaders, then we need to do something, we need to do more forward thinking when it comes to the people. Again, putting money into a pool can wait. This is not the summertime, this is the wintertime. We just had cold blue. I just saw about 50 to I don't even know how many people had nowhere to stay when that snowstorm hit. So when we talk about that snowstorm hitting, the question that comes to my mind is, what about the homeless? What are we doing? You understand? So, one second. This month is Homeless Awareness Month, and the winter season is upon us. Again, if we say we are leaders and we are here for the people, then please expand and build bigger shelters until we are able to deport some of the illegals in our country. I thank you for your time. My name is Ant Marquise, and God bless this country. Now here, for anyone who missed it, this is a flyer for the events that I'm going to start holding. Where all of my music performances and all of my motivational speeches, I give out a bunch of clothes because I have a bunch of clothes in abundance, and I buy a bunch of food and stuff like that, and I just give it back to the community. So I'm just letting you guys know what's going on. So, ma'am, if you ever want anyone to help the homeless, we do have that outside of the NAACP and all of that. So thank you guys for your time.
Thank you. Norma Jeffries?
Norma Jeffries, Scranton resident, and I am standing here tonight as well about the homeless population as well. I have to thank Dr. Rothchild for the information that she did pass on to me, and I was able to look into that and do some more research on it. I did speak with some of the agencies that you had told me about, but one of them only houses families, like mothers with their children. And when you see a mother on her street with their children and it's at night, and as a mother's heart goes to these children that are not being, they don't have a place to stay. Someone asked me, why do you do what I do? I've never been homeless, but I have been hungry. I've gone to bed hungry. I grew up here in Scranton, and so many a night, my sisters, there was 9 of us, so that we were hungry. So maybe because I was hungry growing up, that I have such a desire that these people that are homeless, find some place. When it snowed the other day, someone asked me, Norma, what happened when the people that were in the street when it snowed? I says, I don't know, because I did not see anything about a code blue. So I don't know what happened with them. I guess they slept on the snow. I don't know. But it's a heartthrob, not only of me, but of citizens in Scranton. Maybe because well, I do know that people watch the city council because they come up to me in Garrity's or wherever I am out in the street and ask me things, and I'm sure they do you as well, because you're on council. I'm just a participant, a citizen. But they continuously ask me about the homeless, and they're quite concerned. So, Dr. Rothchild, when you sent me the information, that information has to get out to the public. You know, I didn't want to read everything that you had sent because I wasn't sure exactly how and what I should do with it. So anything that has to be said about the homeless should be said from the podium so that all of the people in the city of Scranton can hear what is being done, or if there's nothing being done. You know, I can't see anybody that wants to know, get in your car and go down to, down by the Geisinger Medical Center down there on Mount Pleasant Avenue, is it? And you will see, your heart will break. So as we prepare to go for Thanksgiving, and we probably all have our turkeys ready to go, there's quite a few meals that are going to be passed out on Thanksgiving to the homeless population, or someone who just doesn't want to or have the facilities to have a dinner with someone. But the difference in the homeless people and most of us here is that we'll enjoy our meal, we'll enjoy the turkey, we'll enjoy the stuffing, but then we'll get up, we'll pat our bellies, and we'll go in and we'll sit in the warm living room and watch football, put our feet up in the recliner. But the homeless do not have that luxury. So, you know, I can't stop thinking about it, maybe because, like I said, because I did go to bed hungry when I was young. And we just need to do something about the homeless population, not just give them a meal, but to provide a roof over their head. So the second thing I wanted to ask you about, and, you know, Mr. King, maybe this is addressed to you. I do get text messages from residents up on East Mountain about the park that's going up, and they're so concerned about the number of trees that are being cut down. And is there going to be a kayak launch pad now that's going in, and they've taken down a lot of the trees? I don't know. I have enough with Naog Park, you know, I don't know about.
We discussed it, yeah. People have been reaching out to me as well. We discussed this during caucus. I was not aware initially with the design that there was going to be kayaking. So I saw pictures of trees that came down over on the Birch Street side. I was showing everyone here during the caucus the pictures. So I asked Frank Voldenberg to try to get either Tom McLean, whoever designed it, to see if they could get the design to council and then answer some questions about. I know that over by the Robinson Park area, they put parking on the lake side across from Robinson Park, and they made a handicap like sidewalk that was, from what I was to understand, to go down to the lake, and there was to be a dock there, and it was going to be handicapped accessible. I thought for, you know, the handicap to be able to go down, or for people to be on the dock to go out and look at the lake or whatever, even maybe fish off of it. I can't say that I ever recall anything with kayaks. So Frank is going to look into that for us and get back to us with some answers on that. But yeah, I've been getting on the East Mountain Facebook.
I don't know what they think I could do, but
Yeah.
you know, I do get the text messages and the calls.
Yeah, and I don't know why those trees, that was the other question, like why the trees came down over on the Birch Street side.
Right.
I mean, are they moving the dock or what? Like, I don't know.
So the final thing that I have is what I'm concerned about is Naog Park, you know, and we were supposed to have the lighting last night, but, you know, nature does what it wants to do. So we are going to have the lighting tomorrow night at 4 o'clock, and the switch will be thrown for our lighting at Naog Park. And I know that it's the Times lighting is tomorrow night as well. So it's going to be a dash from Naog Park over to downtown and across town to get to the lighting. So that's all I have to say, okay? And could I get some additional information on the kayak as well? If someone can send
We'll
that
get
to
that
me,
to you.
okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Tom Morgan.
Thank you, Council. I just do a little introduction basically for Dr. Rothchild and for Mr. Smurl. The rest of the panel knows me very well, including your attorney. My name is Tom Morgan, 30-year career firefighter, veteran of the city of Scranton, retiring in 2020. My family been in the city of Scranton since there was a city of Scranton, coming here in 1857. So homeowners and taxpayers for many, many years. The reason I'm here tonight is, as you've been aware in the past, my name has been submitted for the firefighter's pension retiree position, one of 2 slots. So I just wanted to give you a little history of what I know of what's gone on there so that we're all on the same page, which isn't a lot, I will tell you that. June of 2022, the 2 retiree members that were on the board were informed that their terms were over, expired. So the process then, as council may understand, because it's done by ordinance, is that the Retired Firefighter Association, of which I am the vice president, has to submit 3 names to the union. The union approves the names or disapproves them, sends them to the mayor approves them, and then the person is seated. What has happened in my case is I was first approved by the union in June of 2023. We had to do some other votes for other reasons, and I won't bore you with those details, but there's a letter that I was not given, but there's a letter from the mayor's office or from the city solicitor, I'm not sure which one it was, stating that the mayor has chosen to appoint me of the 3 names that were provided as of March 1st. However, I cannot sit because they have to figure out my term. So that was March 1st, we're almost to December 1st, and I guess they haven't figured that out yet. So the union, of which I'm still a proud member, what we call active retired, since I retired, I'm still active in the union, and the pension board have both said to me that they feel that the retirees need to speak. So as the vice president of the Retiree Association, I'm here telling you we would like to see that seat filled. And if you have any questions for me, I'd be glad to entertain them, but that's my reason for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. We here on council have brought it up a few times about when you're going to be seated in, on the pension board, and we would like to know from the administration when that's going to occur. So, Mr. Voldenberg, Mr. Gilbride, if we could reach out to the administration to see when that is going to occur.
We will.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schuster. And again, I just am basically here as the vice president of the Retiree Association saying we support, and I know the union has supported, and the pension board has tried to get this ironed out, and just trying to get some answers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Alan Lucas?
Good evening, Council. Alan Lucas, Scranton resident, Scranton firefighter, president of Pennsylvania, president of Local 60, IAFF, representing Scranton firefighters. I'm here to address what Tom addressed. I've talked to multiple members of the council about this. I'll just give you a quick rundown to kind of recap what Tom said. I come today to speak on behalf of the local, because we all feel the same way. And Tom is a member of our local still, like he said, a proud member. In June of 22, both of the 5-year terms ended for retirees Terry Osborne and Bernie Garvey. So they concluded. We, Local 60, held elections shortly after, and we submitted a singular name. We, like Tom said, we did 3. We submitted a singular name, which was Donnie Hart, a retiree of Scranton Fire. Donnie's name was accepted by the mayor, and he was appointed to the board where he currently sits. He fills one of the 2 seats. He's the only retiree member that is filling one of those seats. Again, the kind of point here is Donnie's name was submitted as a singular name and was selected by the mayor. That came first. After that, we had another round of elections, and we elected a retiree, Mark Schultz. We submitted that name to the mayor's office. The mayor's office responded back that we need to submit 3 names for her to pick from. So this is the second time we did it. First time we sent 1 name, she picked. Second time we submitted 1 name, she told us she needed 3. So we held another round of elections. At that point in time, we elected 3 names, which would be Tommy Morgan, Mark Schultz again, and Paul Bernardi. We submitted those names to the mayor's office in 2023, which is the election that Tom was speaking of, and the mayor, a few months later, responded back that she had selected Tom to fill that position. That was March of 24, shortly after I took over. Since then, the Pension Board and Local 60, we've been trying to get Tom seated. Like Tom said, the administration stated that they needed to know the term he was filling. Our pension board told him it's a 5-year term. He wasn't filling in the middle of a term. It was an expired term. He was duly elected, selected, put into place. After we told them that, they then told us, the administration then told us that they needed to realign or stagger these terms, that it's something with the ordinance and all this stuff. So myself, the pension board, have been attempting to do this with the administration, and we're not getting anywhere. And it's been over a year, almost a year since I've taken over, well over a year since this whole thing has been going on. So the retirees deserve their rightful complement of members on this board. And I don't want to have to come here and air dirty laundry. I don't want to air these issues out, but we've done everything we can. I have emails, I have everything under the sun that I'm trying to get this guy seated, rightfully so. She selected him, and we're just asking that you guys do something. And I appreciate you reaching out, and again, anything we could do to get them seated. I just want our retirees to be able to have the voice that they're supposed to have. So I appreciate your guys' time on that. Since I have an extra minute 30, I also want to talk about Engine 10. So the storm the other day, that was a real eye-opener, and as we discussed many times with you guys, that's exactly the scenario that we would be concerned with. So I really want to give you guys a huge kudos for giving the union a voice in that matter, and amending that proposal. It's really important to us. It's really important to the citizens of East Mountain that it's up there. And like you said, that snowstorm is a real eye-opener. So I thank you guys for hearing us out, and my membership really does thank you and appreciate the fact that we have a voice to come to, because obviously we're having a very difficult time with this administration. So you guys are our saving grace right now, and we do appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Lucas, one question.
Sure.
So the terms for those 2 positions, they ended in June of 22, correct?
Yes, both terms ended in June of 22.
Was that the end date, or is there any kind of staggering that occurred there, or they just happened to end at the same time?
No, so they ended at the same time. From what we're gathering, we did go all the way back to see the city came back with the Doherty administration, and things may have been messed up, but it's been a long time, and they wanted to realign it. But both of these terms ended in the same time. And again, it would be one thing if somebody resigned a position and then, Tom was filling a 2-year gap or something, but that's not the case here. We've even gone as far as saying, some of our other guys, our active members, they have both been appointed. We just appointed 2 members within the last year. Both active members, both got appointed, both had the same, they're not staggered at all either. So it doesn't make any sense. It just seems kind of like a cop-out that the administration is throwing. We can't figure out why. This isn't like a cost. There's no reason that the city doesn't appoint a retiree. It's absolutely absurd.
And then offhand, do you know the length of the term?
The term that Tom would be filling?
Yeah, the term.
Yeah, both of them are 5-year terms.
5-year, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gilbride, Attorney Gilbride, can you reach out to the administration and see if they could prepare a resolution for next week? I can't speak for my colleagues, but if we could get a resolution to have him appointed next week, I'd be willing to waive the rules and just get this done. He's waited around long enough. Apparently the mayor has already selected him. His colleagues have selected him. Let's get his name in here. We'll waive the rules and get it passed next Tuesday night.
Mr. President, can I address council?
Yes.
As you all may remember, probably the beginning of this year, I think it was January or February of this year, this issue came to you, and I was tasked with meeting to try to determine what was the holdup. Council has done everything we could do with regard to it. As was pointed out by both of the speakers as well as yourselves, the name was submitted. The mayor approved Mr. Morgan It then went to the pension board, who, by the way, is responsible for their own governance. But there was a disagreement between the pension board, which I think Mr. Lucas alluded to, a disagreement as to when the length of the term, how long, it's a 5-year term, but it seemed to me, at least in my conversations, because so much time had elapsed, they were basically saying, well, a year or two have elapsed, so therefore it should, even though it's a 5-year term, it shouldn't be for 5 years from the date he was appointed. It should be 5 years minus the time that elapsed. It seems to me that the pension board can seat Mr. Morgan, and for whatever period of time they determine their operating rules govern, and if the city disagrees with that, then the city can bring a lawsuit. There's not much the council can do because the pension board governs itself. So once the mayor makes that appointment, then they seat the person that the mayor appointed. You know, if they want to argue over the length of time, whether it's 5 years from the day it was approved or 5 years minus the period of time that had elapsed before the appointment was done, there's still no reason why Mr. Morgan shouldn't be already in the seat. They can argue over the time frame later on, but I don't know that there's much council can do. We've already, I think we passed the legislation already appointing him.
We did.
So we've done everything we can do. We passed the legislation. The dispute, which, that's got to be resolved between the pension board and the mayor.
If we passed it and approved it, then he should just go to the next meeting. He's on that pension board.
Right. I agree. So, okay, he should be in the seat. He was appointed. He should be sitting in that seat. They can debate or deliberate how long he's going to be there, but he should be there, whether it's 5 minus the 2 from 22, or 5 moving forward from 22. That's irrelevant. If he's appointed to the seat, he should be sitting in the chair at them meetings.
And I think looking at staggering, 2 years have passed now since that has occurred. If he was to have these 5 years starting from the day of his first meeting, the term should be staggered from that point out.
So would I be correct in saying the mayor of the city of Scranton appointed him, he was approved by the city council, and the pension board itself is holding it up?
I don't want to speak for the pension board, and I can't say that. All I can tell you is that he was approved by the mayor, legislation passed through this council appointing him, and for whatever reason, he has not been taking the seat.
Well, by law, this body passed a resolution and it was approved. As far as I'm concerned, Mr. Morgan has every right to show up at that next pension board meeting, and nobody has any right to kick you out of there. If they want to argue over the term, so be it. We know minimally, Mr. Morgan should be there probably 3 more years, even if the argument was it should go back to 2022. So they have 3 years to figure it out. But right now, time is going by, and they're not being represented properly. So I would suggest that you just go to that meeting, and you are legally on that board.
I agree.
I agree too. Thank you to Mr. Morgan and Mr. Lucas for coming tonight and speaking on that and providing more details, because I wasn't aware of all that information. So I do thank you for that. Want to see you be able to take your seat on that board. And if there's anything, we could do to find more answers or move along the process for determining the length of the term or the end date of it, then we'll go ahead and do that.
Now, do you know when the next meeting is?
Mr. President, I'm sorry, you can't speak from the gallery. I'm sorry.
Perhaps, could our solicitor send a letter to the pension board, maybe in conjunction with the mayor's office, with the solicitors of both bodies, the administration council, to the pension board indicating that on such and such a date, this board approved a resolution appointing Tom Morgan to that pension board. The mayor on such and such a date appointed Tom Morgan to that pension board, and therefore, we expect that he should be seated at the next regularly scheduled meeting, and then the pension board themselves can determine, figure out what the term is, whether it's going to be 3 more years or 5 years from this point. He's already missed the last 2 years, so is that a possibility? Thank you very much.
And
Thank you.
possibly from that point out, if there's any more issue, we could bring it back in front of this board and reappoint for a term.
All right, thank you. We'll do that. Mr. Ellman, Ron Ellman?
All right, Council, you can relax. First off, someone suggested I speak no more on my conflict with the city. That's what the lawyers are for. Secondly, Roseanne was in the hospital 2 weeks ago for a week for sugar in Dixon City, and they decided to send her to Allentown. She's there for a few days, and they solved the problem and released her up there with no way home. She had to come home in a Uber. This isn't right. And what I'm saying, where I'm going with all this, if anybody has to go to Danville or someplace, you ought to make sure you're going to get a ride up and back, not to rely on the hospital saying you'll come back. It can be a big expense, for a Uber down there. Oh, well. Nobody at Geisinger seemed the least bit interested in my problem about when I phoned him, leaving somebody off in the middle of nowhere, It's not like you get out of jail in Ohio or something. And next, I wasn't the only one that was really disappointed in our governor allowing $5 million of tax money to go towards saving this ignorant plan of purchasing that 125-year-old white elephant. They must have had a lot of meals at the Radisson. And how could people that handle your money, investments, make such a dire, ridiculous purchase and then expect us, the taxpayers, to get them out of it, to save face? This is a despicable waste by the people that are in authority there. I've talked to some knowledgeable people, and they said this was just plain more than we know about to make something like this. And I'd like to say real quick, my neighborhood's full of these damn kids, 8, 10 years old, riding two-wheel scooters and bikes all over the sidewalk and the street. They think they're vehicles. They're uninsured, and they go real fast because I've ridden them. This lady across the street I see every once in a while, she walks with a cane and got big, thick glasses. And she heard something behind her last week. She turned, some kid flew by her on a scooter, just inches from her, she said. And if she hadn't turned, he might have, even brushed her or something. I've ridden motorcycles in younger. They're bad enough, but at least when I had my Vespas, I had insurance if I run over somebody. These scooters don't have no insurance if they hit somebody on the sidewalk. And lastly, this idea about venturing off into an ambulance venture. What do you need it for? Why can't... You forgot years ago our parking authority losses? Then the authorities that get involved, you have to hire people with knowledge and experience. You ought to listen to the taxpayers instead of some consultants, you know. To me, it's just some dunce hiding behind the name of a consultant. This is a totally ridiculous venture, because I talked at Ridner's to an ambulance driver. He said we could organize and if they would get together. The city needs to worry about all the problems that it's got instead of starting a new thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ellman. That is all for a sign-in sheet. Anyone else wish to address council?
Evening, Council. Tom Coyne, Manuka. We're looking at Thanksgiving and we're looking at the Christmas holidays, and everyone is somewhat aware in the back of the mind of the homeless and the hungry in the city. It's always been an issue here. St. Francis is a perfect cause of how long that has been there operating. Even back in the times of the coal mines and the company store, of people going hungry in this valley. Well, some of us may be having turkey and some of us might be going out for dinners and sitting down. It is true that some of us are going to be unfortunate and not have that capability. I asked during the Recovery Act funds to take a look at putting more money to the homeless in the food kitchens, because not only through COVID, but through the entire period of time afterwards, there's been a great demand in this community. It seems that a tiki bar at Cooper's is more important than feeding the hungry. And that's an unfortunate statement to have to make about this city. Norma had mentioned that she wasn't aware of how the homeless sleep. They sleep on cardboard that they scavenge when they can scavenge it. They sleep on blankets and whatever they can on the ground to cushion them from the cold. You may know of them carrying around pushing around things in shopping carts as their entire world. But the reason why stores changed from metal shopping carts to plastic shopping carts is they were being taken in a lot of the big cities, and they weren't being taken for the use of tooling around their entire worldly possessions. They were taken back into the woods, turned sideways, so that the homeless could put wood and logs inside of them and then cook on top of them. They became a portable cooking stove for the homeless who had nothing to cook on. It allowed them to not have to try and light a fire in the dirt and mud, and to control that fire by having a metal shopping cart to keep those flames and to have something to cook on, or to put a pot of water on to make hot tea, hot coffee, or hot ramen soup. It's an unfortunate situation, and unfortunately the homeless board, the unsheltered task force, has done virtually nothing except say, we have a plan that was presented by the county groups, Wilkes-Barre's moving forward, and we don't have time for it. What does it say about our community when we don't have time for those who are in need? Now off to the subject of last week's council session, pre-council session. It was mentioned by the HR person at 25 minutes into the ECTV that the records been put out in Dick's courts, the employee records, She stuttered and said, an awful lot of times during that small section. And that was because she was looking for the proper, precise words that she wanted to say and trying to be careful of the words she didn't want to say. It wasn't an unfortunate event. If you plan a birthday party and it rains that day, it's an unfortunate event. If you're going to an opening of an event and your tire blows out, well, that's an unfortunate event. Negligence and incompetence is not an unfortunate event. When someone takes files and puts them out back, that's not an unfortunate event. That's negligence. And I cannot see why an HR department would not have locks on cabinets, would not have procedures for personnel files, who would not have a login and log out for it, and who, when they were originally put forward shredding, were going to put shredding in every single office. And it took me coming up here a second time to go, it really should be done by an outside company. This is the type of representatives we have here. And unfortunately, that is an unfortunate event. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, Council. Happy Thanksgiving to all. God bless our President-elect, Donald J. Trump. Today we had Senator Marty Flynn delivering coats to children. Today we also had Bob Borlas handing out 2,000 free turkeys at the corner of Franklin and Mulberry Street. Today we also have men, women, and children living in tents, cars, and wherever they can find shelter. But no worry. Scranton Mayor was cutting the ribbon at a pickleball park in the winter with her minions. We still have the Scranton School Board trying to figure out how to work together and get along for the betterment of the students and the taxpayers. But the greatest gift of all comes from the Lackawanna County Commissioners, Matt McGloin and Bill Gahan, for our 33% tax increase for the holidays that none of you elected officials commented on or questioned. Regarding the homeless, maybe someone can reach out to a local realtor. We have enough of them in the city. Ask if anyone has a warehouse space that they can contribute for a few months. We can convert it to a shelter, and there's more of us, I'm sure, that will volunteer to make it work. In regards to 6A, for the Scranton Police with no warrants, does that also pertain to loitering and the homeless? And will that follow the state court ruling that we have on file for that now? Have a nice holiday, Council.
Thank you, Mr.
Good evening, Council. Mike Mancini, Scranton. I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Tonight I'm going to discuss things to be thankful for. Tonight I'm thanking our local first responders who provided an amazing response to our road conditions last Friday morning and into the weekend. We had a steady snow for several hours. There were many auto accidents, downed trees and wires throughout the area. They do this very same thing daily. Most take that for granted. As of 8 p.m. on Friday evening, the B shift, our Scranton firefighters, responded to over 37 calls that included downed wires, auto accidents, elevator emergencies, and fires, 12 hours into their shift. To Al Lucas, Local 60, our brave Scranton firefighters who protect us and keep us safe daily, thank you. Our Department of Public Works had an immediate response to our needs once again, tested to an extreme. They never wavered in the havoc which was in front of them. They knuckled up to help our city in a real time of need. To Roger Leonard, Lodge 2305, our very hardworking DPW employees, thank you. To our Scranton Police Department, who was also tested with road conditions, they worked diligently, like their predecessors, to ensure the safety of the good people of Scranton. We're proud to have one of the best police departments in the country. To Justin Butler, Lodge 2462, our brave police officers who keep us safe nonstop with this current climate. Thank you. To PP&L with several outages, tested and caring. Technicians work nonstop to restore electricity to those affected. There were many power lines down. They're the only utility that I like here in the city. Thank you. To the good people of Scranton who show kindness towards others daily, which makes up our true fabric. Their willingness to call Scranton home. Thank you. Those who have helped me with their friendship and more over the years due to something that no parent could ever imagine. Thank you. To those who have helped start the West Scranton Crime Watch, the only one in the city. We made great strides in a short period of time. Thank you. To developers like John Basliga and many others like him who believe in Scranton and invest to keep the lights in the city of Scranton on in our electric city and keep them bright. Thank you. To those of you on council, Mr. Voldenberg, Attorney Gilbride, those of you who truly care and ask the right questions on behalf of the good people of Scranton, thank you. I'm thankful that there are 175 days remaining before the primary in 2025. I'm thankful that there's 343 days remaining before the general election. The good people of Scranton will be thankful for 400 days. That will be the last day for this expansion team, along with this out-of-town mayor. I'm truly humbled and thankful to live in one of the best cities in the country. I'm thankful to be an American. I'm thankful to every veteran who served and protected our freedoms. I'm thankful for every friendship over the years and memories that will never be forgotten. I'm thankful that so many will focus on our local elections next year, embracing change for the better. We are the electric city. We are stronger than one person or administration. No one will dim our lights. I'm thankful that our amazing city will once again shine bright. The good people of Scranton, God bless you. Happy Thanksgiving. Change is coming. Good evening, Council.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, Council. Dave Dobson, resident, taxpayer. I hope that things are being resolved with the fire station up on East Mountain. Because it's like I predicted, if they had to drive up the hill, it wouldn't be too quick of a response. So, and if anybody has a petition, I'll sign it. I'm from the upper south side, but they also see them in my neighborhood. So, okay, I'd like to urge that we examine our situations now with grants and state money, and don't count on it with things being the way they are. As far as Mr. Goffin, I wish he'd get it straight. Not that he doesn't need the 33% or whatever it is, but who caused it? As far as I'm concerned, the cause was Cummings and O'Malley. He told them, the other guy told him that this wasn't going to work with the Globe store, and we just keep sprawling out, and then when we sell these buildings, we sell them for a pittance to a developer, and they have a fine time with it. Hopefully they'll do okay, but it's just a shame. I just wish he'd get it straight. He keeps picking on Notarianni. I was a customer of his for 10 years with his automotive machine shop, and I've known him for probably 50 years, and it's a shame that he didn't make it back in instead of people that are clueless. Now, tax exempts. We're talking about pilots last week. I was unable to attend. You know, when somebody comes up with the bright idea like selling the water company or the streetscape plan in downtown Scranton, brings these advocates in, provides a venue for them. And I mean, some things are okay, you know, if you want to put lighting in or something like that. I feel sorry for the trees that get planted in the middle of the city, because that's like, you know, by the time they're fully grown, they're going to have to be cut down and gotten out of the way. And I never approved of that advocacy, and then because they give $100,000 or $200,000, they're actually granted by law millions of dollars annually. And I wish they'd get together, and if they don't want to pay a little fee or pilot or whatever, how about getting together with council and the mayor and go to the state and try and get some kind of revenue sharing back? It gets wiped out from under us. All of these situations, as far as the homeless are concerned, I was almost homeless because the house burned. It was a rental. But the point being that everybody heads towards the city when they become homeless. I picked the guy up and gave him a ride out towards Tunkhannock. I was right out on the outskirts of Clark Summit at a gas station, and the police harassed him right from the time he walked in the chinchilla till the time he couldn't even stand under a really brutal rainstorm. He couldn't even stand under a vestibule or something. And okay, we have our wonderful pro-lifers got their way with the Supreme Court. Well, currently, Southern Poverty Law Center, 62,000 women were interviewed pregnant from rape, and 26,000 of them are from Texas, and more women just recently died in Texas because they were refused a DNC for a malfunction pregnancy. So thank you and have a good night.
Marie Schumacher, city resident. I wasn't going to come up and talk, but it dawns on me that we start things and then we don't find out what's happening to them. For instance, what's going on with the Meadowbrook program? Anything?
It should be completed soon.
I'm sorry, it should be what soon?
It's still ongoing. Oh, I'm sorry. It is still ongoing.
On hold?
Ongoing. It is still
Ongoing?
proceeding, yes.
How close is it to being?
I don't know. I haven't looked at it in probably 3 or 4 weeks.
What about Sorrento? What is the status of Sorrento?
The status as in?
What's the city going to do with it? Are we going to get revenue from it, as the mayor told us we would when she bought it?
No, I don't believe we are.
Okay, and what about a Naog pool? Are we going to have a pool at Naog? I listened to you people and I couldn't come up with whether you're going to push it and we're going to have one or whether we're not.
That's in process. There's 2 pools and a splash pad going in Ag Park.
What, 2 pools that you can actually swim in? You can,
1 activity pool and 1 lap pool.
okay. Okay. And then engine 10. Now, I thought that engine 10 was being moved to somebody else and we were going to get a new one. But
No.
I'll tell you, I had, my little friend was with me and he saw engine 10. We were went down to the store and we're coming back and he sees engine 10 on a being taken, not driven, but on a towed away.
Yes.
And he almost jumped out of the car to say, well, they're taking our fire engine.
No, we have spare engines for when something like that happens.
Are we getting a new, what is happening to 10 then?
The actual engine, the truck itself?
No, the station.
The station, as soon as the study is finished, we will know if it's going to remain in that spot or if they're going to build a brand new one.
I assume there's a contract for that study. When is it going to get the final report out?
I don't know if it went out for bid yet. I believe it's shortly.
Okay. I think that was. Oh, I just want to tell you about this and see. I'd like to know who goes out and does things. There's a park that I go by once in a while, and it had when you went in, it had a playground. And I think I've talked about it before, and I think I brought a picture of the sliding board, which had a big hole in it, and just terrible.
Was that the one at Nag Park, the lower one?
I don't know if it's lower or higher, but anyway, then I went out again recently, and there's a humongous trench where that circle had been. I mean, very deep, very wide, and guess what? No fence around it. Now, kids, a dog could have run in and gone in there and been there forever, I guess. I don't know how things like that happen in the park. I went back to to make some measurements, and it had been filled in. But it was open wide for a very, very long time. And how does that happen? Doesn't anybody go and look at what's happening on the parks?
We have parks employees that are at parks every day.
And we hire people who don't think that was dangerous to report to somebody higher?
I don't know what that situation entailed, Marie. I don't know.
It's sad.
Marie, where's that park that you're referring to with this hole?
Well,
she said it's filled.
What is it?
She said it is filled.
Where was it, though?
Yeah, the one above, if you look over the back, it's the DPW, I think. Begins with a C. I don't know. I don't know the names of all the parks.
Kapaus Avenue?
But I'll get it. B2. Yeah, that's, yeah.
Well, they're going to be doing work on Kapaus Avenue Park. There's actually a splash pad going in.
Yeah.
This isn't that one. This is down at where the it does. There's no just dead ends, and then you can make a right into the park.
I don't know where that
I'll get it to you tomorrow, though. I will get the name to you.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Voldenberg,
Yes, sir.
can we reach out to the administration and ask, are there any trainings, classes, or any activities going on at the Sorrenti Center where outside police agencies, groups, law enforcement, any types of groups like that are taking classes there at a fee?
I'll ask those questions.
Thank you.
Fifth order.
Fifth order, 5A motions.
Mr. King, do you have any motions or comments?
I have nothing this evening.
Thank you, Mr. King. Mr. Schuster, do you have any motions or comments?
I had some questions from last week. We got some answers on them. So we did ask about the unsheltered homeless situation in the city. Particularly, I asked about the 7th Ave corridor, the Heritage Trail on Olive Street and Silex Streets. And I asked, do we have an update, and when is the homeless task force meeting? And the answer that I got back was that the Scranton Police Department constantly monitors areas where these individuals gather, and the next unsheltered task force meeting will be in December with a date that's yet to be determined. So there's no date for that meeting as of right now. I asked several questions about Rubicon at the caucus. When DPW was in, about the optimization of routes, and the answer I got was that, and this is from the administration, optimization through Rubicon has not changed any of the regular collection days. Residents will not have any day of service changes. Truck usage will remain unchanged after optimization. The collection methods and types of pickups are not set by Rubicon. DPW's daily collection rules and regulations for refuse, including large household items, will not change. Workloads will be equalized across drivers and collectors as a result of this optimization. And historically, our routes were unbalanced, which affected the drivers, collectors, and fleet equipment. So each truck and team will be working through equivalent routes by stop number and duration of their trip. So it just was a rundown of what optimization looks like from those questions. That is all.
Thank you, Mr. Schuster. Dr. Rothchild, do you have any motions or comments?
Just a couple, since I wasn't present at the very start of the meeting, but and I just wanted to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. I know I have a lot to be thankful for as well, and namely my family is the biggest thing, but our city and this community is very truly important to me too, and I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. And I also wanted to thank our fire, police, and DPW workers for all their hard work on Friday with the storm. I don't think anyone was expecting us to have the sort of damage that we did. I really thought it was going to be more of a miss for the city, so I was surprised, and driving around just seeing branches and trees falling everywhere was a bit scary, but they were all very quick to respond. I myself had to contact DPW, so I just really want to thank them for all of their hard work that day, and PPL too for getting power restored to many of our residents who had lost power. That's all that I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rothschild. Mr. McAndrew, do you have any motions or comments?
Got a couple. So the reason for the hole at the park in Pine Brook that you encountered was it was explained to me just now that it was a trench that the fire department dug for training. Okay, so it was utilized as a training purposes. Okay, so that's the hole that you encountered, and the why and how it was filled. All right. Secondly, we're still talking about parks. I get constant complaints, and I still do, about who's locking these parks up at night. How come it's not consistent? The damage that's being done to Novembrino is ridiculous. The shower heads are broke. The equipment's broke. Some of the rides that are broke. And even the police who respond, thank God, because they're driving mopeds, or not mopeds, little motorcycles through there, they're ripping trees up. But we need consistency, or what's protocol, or what's policy. I know we don't have a parks director, we're waiting on, but that doesn't mean these parks should be neglected, because there was an assistant parks director, I guess he's covering. But can you please reach out? And this isn't the first time we brought this up. This is a constant problem. And I know that people have reached out to me and said, hey, Mark, you know, my father used to lock the park up every night, and the city allowed it. I'm willing to do the same. If you know, they give me a key or a lock, I'll lock it every night when the sun goes down. So we need something, because nothing's working what's in place now. And it seems that, like, at least once a week that these parks, especially the Splash Pad or Novembrino Park, is open, and sometimes the office is open, and they're rummaging through the office. It's just, it's a constant complaint I receive, and I don't know why it hasn't been rectified by now, but we need to do that. So, and of course, we're refurbishing a bunch of other parks. So proactively, what are we doing? Is there going to be a policy or a procedure where these beautiful new parks we're spending a ton of money on are going to remain that way, and not like Novembrino that's only a few years old, it's almost destroyed? So I've heard from the police that respond to these parks issues, especially Novembrino, that we need no trespassing signs. All right, so we got to make sure that if there's parks that don't have them, get them. Do all of them have cameras, or will all of them have cameras that are the police are able to tie into? These are a few questions, but more than anything, I mean, what's the procedure or the policy daily to lock these parks, and who's doing it or not doing it? I would like to know that, Mr. Voldenberg. Thanks. All right, so.
Sorry, Mr. Could I add to that one? I know some parks have signage that say closes at dusk, and other parks, such as Novembrino, has a sign that says, I drove past it specifically today, 6 a.m. to, it's 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., and it was open as I came over, even though it was dark out tonight. But are some parks dusk, or are there specific times on them? And just to add some clarity to it.
Well, even consistency. I mean, growing up as a kid, I know we had schoolyards in addition to parks, and there'd be a sign labeled at dusk, okay? But they're not working, so maybe in addition to sundown, sun up, we have no trespassing is a better deterrent, or not, I don't know, I think we should. So in addition to Mr. Schuster, Councilman Schuster's request about Rubicon, I myself, and this isn't the first request for information about them, when they were here in caucus, and weeks prior, what's the cost to retain the software? No one has given us an answer. I wasn't happy with the program. I wasn't happy with the results that we were promised to save $1 million in the first year. We didn't save anything. So now we're being told, oh yeah, well, they're done. They never rolled it out, but they did some data, and then we asked recently, we go, no, we got to retain them for the software. We're keeping everything, but we have to retain them. So I don't know, we don't know if it's $1,000 or $50,000 a year, and we keep asking, and we're supposed to approve a budget. So please, before next week, can we get that amount? They promised it 2 weeks ago, so I think somebody has it or should.
I'll follow up, sir.
Thank you. All right, so I also was asked by the great residents in Greenridge for an update on the sewer issue on North Washington. We haven't got an update in a while, and if you could please reach out to American Water and see where they're at. Okay?
We did receive one. I'll send it to you in the morning.
Oh, okay, thank you. And then I'll pass it on to the people that inquired. Thank you. And then the 700 block of Jennett Street. So this is supposedly considered by the city a paper street. Okay, I'm not even sure what that means, but I was told it's a paper street. But it was also paved last year by our administration. And the issue that remains, or the residents are complaining about, is it's not paved. I'm sorry, not paved, it's not plowed. And they have to plow it themselves because it's considered a paper street. I don't know what that means, but if you could please reach out to administration and find out what that means. Is it a street that, should all receive the same services as every other street in the city, because people live on it? So I don't understand. If you can ask for clarification and make sure and find out if it is being paved, not paved, I'm sorry, I keep saying that. It's being plowed when needed. And I think that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McAndrew. Mr. Voldenberg?
5B for introduction, a resolution authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and enter into a contract with Mid-Atlantic, Inc. to perform pave cut inspections.
This time, I entertain a motion that item 5B be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second.
On the question?
On the question, if we could just ask the administration to, in the backup documentation, it states that no cost will be incurred by the city. And I understand that there's a reimbursement, but in our budget, we do have expenditures. We have third-party inspection of $500,000, and we also have a third-party review of $10,000, as well as revenue in there for pave cut administration, $35,000, third-party inspection, $500,000, and third-party review of $10,000. So if we could just get the clarity, again, I understand it's a reimbursement, but if we could just get clarification on how this is going to occur and how we're accounting for the transactions.
I'll do that, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
5C for introduction, a resolution authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and enter into a contract with Axon Enterprise, Inc. for certain police technology and equipment.
This time, I entertain a motion that item 5C be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second.
On the question, all those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
5D for introduction, a resolution authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and submit a grant application by the Office of Economic and Community Development of the City of Scranton on behalf of the Scranton Cultural Center to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, acting through the Commonwealth Financing Authority for a local share account grant for up to $346,000 to be used towards the Scranton Cultural Center HVAC renovation project.
At this time, I entertain a motion that item 5D be introduced into its proper committee.
So moved.
Second?
On the question, all those in favor of introduction signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
Sixth order, 6A, reading by title, filed to council number 48, 2024, an ordinance authorizing the police officers of the city of Scranton to arrest without a warrant pursuant to 42 PA CS Section 8902.
You've heard reading by title of item 6A. What is your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move that item 6A pass reading by title.
Second?
On the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
6B, reading by title, filed to council number 49, 2024, an ordinance amending street openings and excavations code to adjust the calculation method and schedule of inspection fees and related permit provisions.
You've heard reading by title of item 6B. What is your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move that item 6B pass reading by title.
Second.
On the question,
On the question, I'd like to thank Mr. Voldenberg and Mr. Gilbride for a review of the comparison of the two ordinances. It does appear that the city is attempting to strengthen the previous ordinance.
thanks. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, so moved.
Seventh order, 7A, for consideration by the Committee on Finance for adoption, filed to council number 44, 2024, levying the property tax millage for the year 2025.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Finance?
As chairperson for the Committee on Finance, I recommend final passage of item 7A.
Second?
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7A legally and lawfully adopted.
7B, for consideration by the Committee on Finance for adoption, filed to council number 45, 2024, maintaining the waste disposal and collection fee at $300.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Finance?
As chairperson for the Committee on Finance, I recommend final passage of item 7B.
Second?
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7B legally and lawfully adopted.
7C, for consideration by the Committee on Finance for adoption, filed to council number 46, 2024, levying local service tax at $156.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Finance?
Chairperson for the Committee on Finance, I recommend final passage of item 7C.
Second?
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7C legally and lawfully adopted.
7D, for consideration by the Committee on Finance for adoption, filed to council number 47, 2024, amending file to council number 98, 2023, an ordinance as amended entitled appropriating funds for the expenses of the city government for the period commencing on the first day of January 2024 to and including December 31st, 2024 by the adoption of the general city operation budget for the year 2024 to increase the intergovernment FEMA emergency permits revenue line item account number as noted by an amount not to exceed $2,356,854.00 and to increase the Department of Public Works Administration Professional Services expense line item account number as noted by an amount not to exceed $2,356,854.00. Said increases acknowledge the increase in expenditures and the increase in reimbursable revenue that was not identified in the 2024 operating budget.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Finance?
As chairperson for the Committee on Finance, I recommend final passage of item 7D.
Second.
On the question?
On the question, so I've been speaking about this since 2020 when I arrived on council. In 2018, we had some flooding that occurred, and we had, I think it was 49 FEMA projects that needed to be completed. Since 2018, the city got an extension, extending it out to 2024, and we heard in caucus within the last 2 weeks that all of these projects were being completed. One was yet to be finished, but that project was being completed as we speak. So I'm glad to see that the city got that extension. I'm glad to see that we're going to be reimbursed by FEMA, and it's going to be reimbursed 100%. So happy to see this come to an end.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7D legally and lawfully adopted.
7E for consideration by the Committee on Public Safety for adoption, resolution number 151, 2024, authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and enter into a contract with H2M Architects and Engineers, Inc. to perform engineering and architectural services for Emergency Services Training Facility and Emergency Operations Center.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Public Safety?
As chairperson for the Committee on Public Safety, I recommend final passage of item 7E.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7E legally and lawfully adopted.
7F for consideration by the Committee on Community Development for adoption, resolution number 152, 2024. Resolution for plan revision for new land development located in the 600 block of Mineral Avenue.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Community Development?
As chairperson for the Committee on Community Development, I recommend final passage of item 7F.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7F legally and lawfully adopted.
7G for consideration by the Committee on Community Development for adoption, resolution number 153, 2024. Resolution for plan revision for new land development located in the 2900 block of Stafford Avenue.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Community Development?
As chairperson for the Committee on Community Development, I recommend final passage of item 7G.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7G legally and lawfully adopted.
7H for consideration by the Committee on Community Development for adoption, resolution number 154, 2024, authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and submit a grant application by the Office of Economic and Community Development of the City of Scranton to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, acting through the Commonwealth Financing Authority for a local share account grant for up to $1 million to be used towards the Clover Field site renovation and recreation improvements project.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Community Development?
As chairperson for the Committee on Community Development, I recommend final passage of item 7H.
Second.
On the question?
On the question, I just wanted to add, I hope that they're successful in obtaining the LSA for Cloverfield. I've been to quite a number of events there over the years, and it's a really great space, and I think there's a lot that could be done there, so I think it's exciting to see the things that they're interested in adding to that park, hopefully with this grant. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7H legally and lawfully adopted.
7I for consideration by the Committee on Community Development for Adoption, Resolution Number 155, 2024, authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and submit a grant application by the Office of Economic and Community Development of the City of Scranton to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, acting through the Commonwealth Financing Authority for a local share account grant for up to $1 million to be used towards the Naog Park Swim Complex project.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Community Development?
As chairperson for the Committee on Community Development, I recommend final passage of item 7I.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7I legally and lawfully adopted.
7J for consideration by the Committee on Community Development for Adoption, Resolution Number 156, 2024, authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and submit a grant application by the Office of Economic and Community Development of the City of Scranton to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, acting through the Commonwealth Financing Authority for a local share account grant for up to $1 million to be used towards the Wyoming Avenue Streetscape project.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Community Development?
As chairperson for the Committee on Community Development, I recommend final passage of item 7J.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7J legally and lawfully adopted.
7K for consideration by the Committee on Public Safety for Adoption, Resolution Number 157, 2024, accepting a donation of ADA signs to the City of Scranton from the Architectural Heritage Association to be placed on City Hall property.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Public Safety?
As chairperson for the Committee on Public Safety, I recommend final passage of item 7K.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7K legally and lawfully adopted.
7L for consideration by the Committee on Public Works for Adoption, Resolution Number 158, 2024, amending Resolution Number 144 of 2024, as amending Resolution Number 134 of 2024, authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and enter into a memorandum of understanding with American Rescue Plan Act Director to obligate state and local fiscal recovery funds for splash pad equipment and enhancements to Capouse Avenue Park Playground, to revise the funding amount subject to the interagency agreement.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Public Works?
As chairperson for the Committee on Public Works, I recommend final passage of item 7L.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7L legally and lawfully adopted.
7M for consideration by the Committee on Community Development for Adoption, Resolution Number 159, 2024, amending Resolution 111 of 2024, entitled, authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and submit a grant application on behalf of Valley in Motion Trust for public land to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, acting through the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Financing Authority for a local share account grant pursuant to the PA Racehorse Development and Gaming Act for up to $200,000 to be used towards the Francis Willard Elementary School Green Schoolyard project.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Community Development?
As chairperson for the Committee on Community Development, I recommend final passage of item 7M.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7A-M legally and lawfully adopted.
7N for consideration by the Committee on Public Safety for adoption, Resolution Number 160, 2024, ratifying execution of the lease financing proposal and authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials, including but not limited to the business administrator and/or fire chief, to execute and enter into any and all documents necessary to enter into, consummate, execute a lease purchase agreement for Sudfin Custom Ladder Truck with First Security Finance, Inc.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for Committee on Public Safety?
I make a motion to amend item 7N as follows. In the last line of the summary title, delete First Security Finances, Inc., and insert Leasing to, Inc. This amendment corrects the name of the vendor for the lease purchase of the ladder truck.
Second.
On the question? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. So moved.
So, as chairperson for the Committee on Public Safety, I recommend final passage of item 7N as amended.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7N as amended, legally and lawfully adopted.
7O for consideration by the Committee on Community Development for adoption, Resolution Number 161, 2024, authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and submit a grant application by the Office of Economic and Community Development of the City of Scranton on behalf of Community Development Properties Scranton, Inc., to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, acting through the Commonwealth Financing Authority for a local share account grant for up to $1,020,000 to be used towards the Marywood University campus renovation project.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Community Development?
As chairperson for the Committee on Community Development, I recommend final passage of item 7O.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7C legally, lawfully adopted.
7-0.
7-0.
Oh, I'm sorry, 7O, legally and lawfully adopted.
7P for consideration by the Committee on Community Development for adoption, Resolution Number 162, 2024, authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and submit a grant application by the Office of Economic and Community Development of the City of Scranton on behalf of Community Development Properties Scranton, Inc., to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, acting through the Commonwealth Financing Authority for a local share account grant for up to $127,500 to be used towards the Linden Parking Garage renovation project.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Community Development?
As chairperson for the Committee on Community Development, I recommend final passage of item 7P.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7P legally and lawfully adopted.
7Q for consideration by the Committee on Community Development for adoption, Resolution Number 163, 2024, authorizing the mayor and other appropriate city officials to execute and submit a grant application by the Office of Economic and Community Development of the City of Scranton on behalf of the Scranton Life Realty Company to the Commonwealth Financing Authority for a local share account grant for up to $408,000 to be used towards the Biden Street Historic Renovation Project.
What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Community Development?
As chairperson for the Committee on Community Development, I recommend final passage of item 7Q.
Second.
On the question? Roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7Q legally and lawfully adopted.
7R for consideration by the Committee on Community Development for adoption, Resolution Number 164, 2024, ratifying and approving the execution and submission of the grant application by the Office of Economic and Community Development of the City of Scranton to the Department of Community and Economic Development's Main Street Matters Grant Program for up to $1 million to be used towards the Cloverfield Site Renovation and Recreation Improvements Project.
What is recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Community Development?
As chairperson for the Committee on Community Development, I recommend final passage of item 7R.
Second.
On the question, roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes, I hereby declare item 7R legally and lawfully adopted.
7S, previously tabled, for consideration by the Committee on Finance for adoption, filed to Council Number 42, 2024, appropriating funds for the expenses of the city government for the period commencing on the first day of January 2025 to and including December 31st, 2025, by the adoption of the general city operating budget for the year 2025.
I make a motion to amend item 100 44010 000 000 standard salary in the city clerk council department from $265,071.24 to $266,681.24. Amend item 100 45000 000 951 000 000 Everhart Museum in non-departmental from $52,500 to $50,890. This amendment increases the City Council Legislative Legal Advisor salary by $1,610 from $46,000 to $47,610.
Second.
On the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved.
Okay, I make a motion to amend item 100-440110-111-178-00000, which is standard salary in the Department of Public Safety, Bureau of Fire, as follows. So these are corrections that we're making based on the presentation we had last week, okay, during the budget work sessions. Okay, so what I'm going to be reading is proposed title, the 2025 salary proposed, salary as amended, and number of employees, okay, with each line. Deputy Chief, $104,178.40. As amended, $104,955.42. Number of employees, 1. Assistant Chief, $300,578.88. As amended, $302,820.63, 3 employees. Assistant Chief for Training, $99,632.96. As amended, $100,380.21, 1 employee. Captain, $92,116.27. As amended, $92,807.15, 1 employee. Captain, $1,381,744.05. As amended, $1,392,000. I'm sorry, $1,392,092,107.18. This is 15 employees. Lieutenant, $1,328,600.10. As amended, $1,338,000, $564.60. That's also 15 employees. Chauffeur, $2,555,000.10. As amended, $574,162.60, 30 employees. Fire inspector, $191,601.84. As amended, $193,038.86. That is 2 employees. Officer, $95,892. amended as $96,519.43, one employee. Private, $5,368,041.04, as amended, $5,321,219.85. That's 68 employees. Master mechanic, $95,800.92, as amended, $96,519.43, one employee. Bureau of Fire total, $11,826,247.28. As amended, it will now be $11,826,247.28.
Second.
On the question?
On the question, I think it's important to note that the 2025 proposed salary and the amended salary, the total is exactly the same. It's just that the numbers weren't correct, that Mr. McAndrew so eloquently went through and made adjustments to.
I don't know about that, but I did go through them.
Maybe efficiently.
Yeah,
How's that?
I'll take it.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, and so moved. What is the recommendation of the chairperson for the Committee on Finance? Are we going to?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll go through it.
Okay.
As chairperson for the Committee on Finance, I recommend final passage of item 7S as amended.
Second.
On the question?
On the question, I'd like to make a motion to table this so we could pass at our meeting on December 3rd.
Second.
Roll call, please. Or, I'm sorry, on the question?
On the question, so we're going to vote right now to table.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and on the question, the reason we're doing this is because we need to add another piece, another amendment that we didn't want to wait until after the budget's passed. A little miscommunication there, and then we'd have to reopen the budget. And the reason we want to do this is we want to put some money towards council's budget where we have and utilize, we should utilize at times our right to subpoena and do investigations. But guess what? What's required for that is money. So we have to find some money before we pass the budget and make sure it's put in this line item for us to be, not that we're not efficient, but we might be able to be more efficient in different areas with this resource.
I'm in agreement to table so that we have time to create that amendment and figure out where that money is going to come from.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Dr. Rothchild?
Yes.
Mr. McAndrew?
Yes.
Mr. Smurl?
Yes. This item is tabled until next Tuesday.
Next week.
Eighth order, 8A, file to council number 42, 2024.
This ordinance was taken, is the 2025 city operating budget. It was taken from the table this evening and placed in seventh order for a final vote, but it was amended and it will be tabled again until next week.
8B, file to council number 43, 2024.
This ordinance amends the responsible contractor ordinance. It has been tabled until we get more information from the administration, which I had received late this afternoon, so I will have our attorney look it over, and we will perhaps add it next week. If there's no further business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
This meeting is adjourned.